Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. Folks throughout Eastern Kentucky are dealing with the aftermath of floods that devastated parts of the region, including right here in Hazard. I was in the downtown area earlier today where cleanups are underway. People cleaning up to get back on track after the flood damaged and destroyed more than 40 businesses in downtown Hazard.
It's hard to see everything that you work for on the sidewalk.
Sam Collins is an attorney at the law office of Deborah Lewis. He's worked in this building for 15 years. He says 5 feet of water got into the first floor, making everything on that floor a total loss.
It's hard.
And now comes the recovery process. Collins says the law office will need to be gutted, redoing the flooring and electrical. But helping hands are making the job easier.
It's great. There's been so many people who called, texted, and said, hey, we'll be there. And then, we've had a whole bunch of people show up already and help.
Boys with the Hazard High School football team spent their day off from school cleaning out downtown businesses.
Yeah, we're seeing mud and water out of the floors and boards and stuff. We're going to tear up all the tiles and all that.
It definitely feels good. It feels like you're really helping the community, stuff like that.
With a goal to help as many people as they can.
Yeah, just know people are going to help you. If you ever need anything, just call somebody if I'll be there. So, yeah.
Continuing to lean on one another through the toughest of times.
Historically, we've not had anybody else, so we've got each other, and we just band together and we'll get through this.
Much of the state that's dealing with dangerous floodwaters were also hit hard by deadly flooding in the summer of 2022. Less than 3 years after the devastating July 2022 floods, the people of Hazard and Perry County are back to stage 1 of picking up the pieces after the water levels reached historic heights. Justin Campbell is calling the Denny Ray Noble Senior Citizen Center home after watching the water rise in 1984, 2022, and now 2025.
It's like you say, it started off just like any other night, and by 10 o'clock, you could hear the water in the distance. It sounded like it was a train coming constantly, and it never went away.
Many of the people lending a helping hand now in 2025 are those same people who lost everything in 2022. And they see this devastating experience as what makes them more equipped to help them along the way. And we do want to let you know about the WYMT News app. You can keep up to date with everything going on in Eastern Kentucky. To download that app, just take a look at your screen. You can scan that QR code by either using the camera on your phone or using a QR code app. It'll take you where you need to go, where you can download the app for free, either from the App Store or the Google Play Store.
Well, it's finally been a calm day across our area. Certainly has been a cold one, but it has been calm. That is a good sign. We look at our current temperatures right now. It's a very cold night. We have temperatures into the upper 20s to low 30s at the moment. 28 in Hazard, 26 in Jackson. We are 30 in London, 32 in Manchester and Harlan, set 27 right now in Pikeville, and 27 in Prestonsburg. Satellite radar all clear right now. We are just seeing a lot of cloud cover across our area, but we are staying nice and dry across our region. We still have plenty of flood alerts out there. Of course, those rivers are still in those flooding levels in many places. They are starting to come down, those levels. That is good to see, but still something to be mindful of as we go through the night tonight, as temperatures are going to fall down into the upper teens to low 20s for our overnight lows. Now, next on deck, we have a winter storm on the way. We have winter storm warnings for much of the area. This starts tomorrow and lasts through tomorrow evening and lasts through Thursday morning. Other places into advisory category at least. But yeah, we got a lot going on. I'll detail it for you coming up.
All right, thank you, Ben. Well, Bell County was part of the region that encountered heavy flooding and damages this past weekend. One man says his family will be in danger. WYMT's McKinley Calandrino has more.
A weekend that will leave a mark on many in the Eastern Kentucky region. Homes, cars, and lives lost in a flood. Data and records rising, along with river levels. some saying it appears to be the fourth biggest storm on record in Bell County.
Obviously, we had a lot of water. We had a lot of issues that we dealt with over the weekend.
Buildings, roads, and street signs all covered by rushing water, leaving residents fearful for their community and belongings. Like a Pineville father who said he's never seen it this quick.
It looked like a lake. This building here, this building has been covered one time my whole life, but it was almost halfway over it when it come this time.
Luckily, he and his family were safe from the water, but others weren't. Larry Markle says he has been searching for an answer to the backed up culverts in his neighborhood, but no one answers.
See, stopped. He got stopped up. So much dirt and stuff. It comes down to here, and it just ain't nothing. They're just little bitty tiles. They can't get nobody to clean them out or nothing.
Larry's wife and daughter are both sick and at risk. He said if something would have happened, they would have been trapped in with no cell phone service for help.
This man over here, he has a pacemaker. If he'd had to get out of here, how could he got out? He couldn't have done it.
He has no choice but to get in the culverts and try to shovel them out himself, but he is worried about the future and what might happen to his trailer. He says there is nothing left to do but pray.
And I don't want to leave it, but I ain't going to have much of a choice. I ain't got no floors. They're falling through in the bedroom.
The trailer that was gifted to him by his grandmother is at risk. He said he just needs help.
We need help. Why won't they come up here and help us? Somebody.
To protect his family. In Bell County, McKinley Calandrino, WYMT Mountain News.
Larry told WYMT his lawnmower and 4Runner are completely ruined, but what really matters is that his family is safe. Governor Andy Beshear was in Pikeville today visiting one of the areas hardest hit by flood damage. After surveying storm damage in Pikeville, the governor confirmed 11 people had died because of the storms, and we now know that number has risen to 12. Most of the deaths include motor vehicle related and flood water related deaths. During a news conference, the governor promised as much help as possible to the devastated area.
We're going to show up and make sure your families get the very best treatment that we can, and we will dig out, we will muck out, we'll rebuild every single structure that's here.
The governor said as of this afternoon, more than 300 roads in the state had closed due to rock and mudslides, and a number of residents were still waiting to be taken to safety. A well-known man from Clay County was among those who were killed in floodwaters. Don Nicholson was driving in the Horse Creek section of Clay County when officials say he got out of his truck and was swept away. His friends say Nicholson was deeply devoted to his family and community. Mike Brewer says Nicholson also made sure that kids who didn't have a place to go stayed with him and his wife.
I just think about the big hole that's been left in the community of Manchester, and because Don and his wife reached out and impacted so many people in the community.
Local officials say they are still trying to assess damages. They say problems are pretty much county-wide. The Oneida community was hit especially hard again. Many are dealing with the same flooding they experienced just a few years ago. Flooding in Leslie County has left some communities completely cut off, with roads underwater and no way in or out. Emergency officials say they're working to reach those stranded before temperatures drop even further. High water from Buckhorn Lake has left parts of Kentucky 257 impassable, stranding residents in the Dry Hill and Confluence areas. Leslie County Emergency Management Director Tony Hacker says crews are working to get supplies to those still cut off.
We're doing all we can right now. We're going to have Fish and Wildlife. We'll be using boats to deliver MREs and water down to the residents. As far as propane and generators, we may have to rely on the National Guard for that. I'm contacting and working on that right now.
Hacker says water levels are starting to drop, but it could still be several days before roads are clear and residents can safely leave their homes. First responders in Floyd County are still hitting the water, performing rescues in their communities. After the weekend, officials with the Floyd County Sheriff's Office say they've been receiving calls for water rescues around the clock. With first responders from all around the region gathering in the area, Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt says the rescue efforts are all hands on deck. He says community volunteers have even stepped in to help, with workers from a local business, Copperhead Guns and Range, stepping behind the wheel.
Got a lot of thought that goes into the process of putting men in the water and to rescue somebody else, and the equipment. You got to have the right equipment, and thank God. I mean, we don't have the equipment, but we had some good people here, some good Samaritans that came forward with military-style vehicles that they own them. They're personally owned, and said, use me, take my truck, you can have it.
Hunt says thanks for the help of community volunteers and others. They have saved more than 100 people since the flooding began. Mountain Comprehensive Care Center is providing immediate mental health support for those impacted by flooding here in the mountains. If you or a loved one are struggling, you can contact the center's 24-hour helpline at 1-800-422-1060. That line is available 24 hours a day. You can also dial the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 for immediate support. WYMT and our sister station, WKYT, are partnering with Appalachian Regional Healthcare for a flood relief drive. ARH is asking for cleaning supplies and essential things like food, water, and clothing. You can also make a monetary donation online. Between 8 and 5, you can drop off items at a ARH System Center in Lexington, ARH Disaster Relief Center in Hazard, and the former Highlands ARH Cancer Center building in Prestonsburg. A woman is facing charges after she reportedly shoplifted nearly $70 worth of items in Laurel County. The incident happened last Friday. Police were called to a Walmart in the southern part of the county near Corbin after finding Whitney Mills. Police conducted an investigation which ultimately led to her arrest. Mills was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center.